So, Miss Goss Graves, I want to play a game. It's called Trump or Trans. You ready?
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to tell me whether or not it is Trump or trans people that are responsible. You understand?
Got it.
Okay, very good. The first one, gutted medical research.
Trump.
Kidnapping Americans and sending them to foreign countries, a.k.a. deporting them.
Trump.
Driving us into a recession.
Trump.
Increasing the cost of everything.
Trump.
Waging an idiotic tariff war.
Trump.
Harming farmers.
Trump.
Ignoring the Constitution.
Trump.
Proposing to take away Social Security.
Trump.
Cutting health care.
Trump.
Firing government workers who keep our country safe.
Trump.
Encouraging an environment of hate and divisiveness.
Trump.
Thank you so much.
That was Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett playing a fun game, but also going over how all of these attacks from Donald Trump and his administration are by design.
They closed the Department of Education's Office of Civil Rights. Again, sounds like they are fighting for us. And instead of providing oversight over these actions, congressional Republicans have been working to execute one of the most aggressive anti-women legislative agendas in history. And yet, they're here today trying to convince the American people that discriminating against trans people is somehow the only way to protect women. This hearing has nothing to do with improving government efficiency. It's another attempt by Republicans to distract from their demonic and disastrous policies that are making it more difficult for Americans to make ends meet.
To be clear, she used her time to point out the hypocrisies because with this endless assault that is going on from Trump and his cronies, it serves a purpose. And that purpose is to also serve as a distraction so we don't see the highway robberies that they are committing on us, the electorate.
I'd be the greatest women's basketball coach in history. But I'd go up to LeBron James, it doesn't matter. I'd say, LeBron, did you ever have any desire to be a woman? Because what I'd love you to do is star on my team that I'm building up. I will have the greatest team in history. They'll never lose. And they started lifting. And she got up there, and she got it up to here, and it was going, and they were screaming. They were screaming. They're so proud of her. Couldn't quite make it, but you'll make it the next time. And then a guy comes along, named Jill. Now, a guy comes along, and he goes, looks down. Then I think for little enjoyment, he went.
And even through the storm, this MAGA storm of hate, one person used their platform quite well on their very last show.
Being on this show has been a privilege and a platform, and I know it's my last time on it, and I want to say something worthy of that privilege and platform, and that is this, that trans kids deserve to play sports. Think about what you remember from your time playing sports. Like 99% of it is finding that jersey for the first time, your favorite number, community, joy, those high fives. It's that moment when you have a great play with a teammate. It's the feeling of belonging, and it does not know gender. And trans kids deserve that the same as everybody else does. And Tony, this space has, on Around the Horn, it's been about diversity and inclusion and lifting up new voices, because sports is joy and sports is humanity. And the more people who have that, the better.
That was Kate Fagan, former, and yes, I say former, ESPN writer, journalist, and on-air personality, because Around the Horn is ending. Another conversation for another day on whether you loved that show or hated that show. Doesn't matter. That show ending, Tony Reale decided to bring back Jamil Hill and Kate Fagan, two longtime contributors to that show. And this was how Kate Fagan used her final send-off, her final goodbye, which really shows so much, considering that ESPN, the #1 sports channel, is vehemently attacked by the right time and again, and also the subject that she decided to bring up in that last send-off. It was awesome.
Critical race theory, transgender insanity, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content on our children. It's amazing how strongly people feel about that. You see, I'm talking about cutting taxes, people go like that. Talk about transgender, everyone goes crazy. Who would have thought 5 years ago you didn't know what the hell it was? But I mean, there's so much truth here.
In addition, this was a very surprising admission from Republican President Donald Trump, because it shows that he couldn't even believe how effectively these ads, these attacks, the coverage that Fox News has piggybacked off of him, creating a star out of Riley Gaines, and much more, worked to a T. And it shows how the culture wars, marginalizing an already marginalized community even further, and hosting some on the right, like the Daily Wire's Michael Knowles, calling for the eradication of trans people and providing a home for them. Nonetheless, I still say a really surprising admission from Donald Trump. It remains not only hypocritical, but deeply problematic how bad faith so many actors are in our federal government. At one Trump party, here is Attorney General Pam Bondi, Judge Jeanine Pirro, and Trump lawyer Alina Habba snapping photos with trans MAGA folks like Caitlyn Jenner and Sophia Hutchins. It's important to pay attention, and I need everyone to really lock in here from what I've said previously in this video and this. They have shown you that they are surprised that them going after trans people works so well. It was like their golden ticket to winning the White House in some ways. But what is really daunting is how so many people, like the Rahm Emanuels of the world, the Gavin Newsoms of the world, multi-millionaires who are part of the DNC establishment, are punting on this issue and waving the white flag, which is deeply problematic, to say the least. On The Daily Show, Jordan Klepper interviewed trans service members. Human Rights Watch would tweet this photo with two captions: "It's interesting to hear how we are too strong for sports, but too weak for the United States military." Because what that shows me is they don't care about having a large tent. They don't care about standing up for the marginalized. They don't care for standing up for oppressed people. And when the attacks keep coming from left and right, they're indifferent. That is what centrism is. Indifference. Especially in this context. They do not give a flying four-letter word about trans people. And if you all allow the Newsoms and the Rahm Emanuels to run the playbook for this party, they will continue losing elections. Because they can only play off of the Trump bad, Trump mean, me good sort of line over and over again for so long. It gets tiresome. The well runs out. Because what people actually want is change. What people want is for their lives to be a little easier. What they want is for billionaires to be taxed, not for them to become our friends. And what people also want is to not see others being taken advantage of left and right. So when I look at this, I see a problem that does not exist. And I see an administration and an entire political ideology going after these people. And then I see another side of the aisle who says, nah, not worth the fight. They're just people. You know, they're just people and they're making us lose. So I'm not going to stand up for them. Well, that's crazy. And that is exactly why those that have been in this Dem establishment, the Schumers, the Newsoms, the Emanuels, we who are further left than them need to kick them out. Because not only are they going to cost elections, they are stymieing progress for a better life and a better tomorrow.